be one of the panelists about the June Academy. She's here now. You want this person? No. Okay, she will catch that. Okay, once again, good afternoon, everyone. Those online, I hope you can hear my voice clear.
Yes, we can. Good afternoon, Prof.
So, on this note, I want to say good afternoon to all our esteemed guests, our visionary founders, staff, students, and innovators. On behalf of the AUSTInspire Innovation Hub, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar themed Startup Fast Tracking to MVP with AI. We're gathered here to explore one of the most transformative questions in entrepreneurship. How can AI redefine the path from idea to MVP? Whether you're a first-time founder or a seasoned innovator, this session will equip you with the actionable strategies to leverage AI for speed, precision, and scalability. At AUSTInspire, we exist to empower startups at every stage, from ideation to global impact. Our mission is to bridge the gap between groundbreaking ideas and market-ready solutions. Today's theme aligns perfectly with that vision. AI isn't just a buzzword, it's a force multiplier that can compress months of development into weeks. Building an MVP is often the make or break phase for startups. Traditional methods involve costly iteration, resource bottlenecks, and guesswork. But with AI, founders can automate market research to validate ideas in hours, not months, generate code, designs, and prototypes with AI-driven tools, predict user behavior to refine product market fit before launch. This webinar will show you how to turn these possibilities into realities using AI. Today, we are privileged to host pioneers who have walked this path. Firstly, I want to welcome our special guest and president of African University of Science and Technology, Professor Azikiwe Peter Onwalo. Welcome, sir. And it me also to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Kelly Kasasira, lead software engineer, Corporation Hall, all the way from Kigali, Rwanda. He is a tech lead behind groundbreaking AI tools for learning startups. I want to also mention Dr. Umar Adam Ibrahim. He is an assistant professor of AI research and startup advisor, SDU University, Kazakhstan. Dr. Umar, you're welcome, sir. I would also want to welcome Engineer Celestine Gugu, the CEO of Enterprise Digital, who is one of our panelists today. Also on the list, the CEO of the Turing AI Academy, Oge Elekwa. Okay, we're glad to have you. I will not end without mentioning my own boss here, Engineer Dr. Vitalis, for moderating us today. And all of you that are here gathered, you are highly welcome. Business Day newspaper, we're glad to have you. Thanks for coming. I am sure and certain that their insights in today's webinar will be pure gold for your journey in startup development. What are we expecting in today's webinar? We expect a deep dive into AI tools for rapid prototyping. We expect to see case studies on failures turned into pivots using AI analytics. We are equally going to expect live
Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
answers to tackle your body.
Yes, ma.
questions. Finally,
What?
as we begin, I want you to engage
Why?
relentlessly,
Let me
share
call
your
them, ma. Then
challenges,
what they do? Let me call them, ma.
a concrete plan to
Okay, let me call them, ma.
Let's
Sorry, ma.
possible.
Hold on. Let me call them, ma.
Let's
This is
build
boy doing.
smarter, faster, and bolder. Thank you, and let's innovate.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley Ogudu. Mr. Kingsley Ogudu is the top manager here at AUSTInspire. And once again, welcome to the online audience and to you all here, and to our dear president who is here seated and very passionate about entrepreneurship and about the use of AI in different sectors. And we know the potential of AI. So I believe, like our manager has said, this will be a productive webinar, and we're going to take some lessons from here. So all the students take your notepads and you take notes. I also want to welcome the faculty that are here. The inquisitor is here, and I'm sure there are some of them who are online. But okay, anyway, we recognize most of them online as they join. But I believe this is going to be an interesting and insightful meeting. We won't take much of your time. So at this juncture, I'll be inviting our university president, who's a man with so many hats. He's a high achiever, extremely humble, a mentor, a father to many, and a distinguished professor of agricultural engineering, and a fellow of the Academy of Science in Nigeria, and the Academy of Engineering, and fellow of so many other professional bodies. You know, the citation will be so long to think about an hour, but really out. So this is just a very abridged version of it. So at this juncture, we want to hear from you, Prof. Just tell us a bit about your thoughts on how we can leverage AI as an institution to trigger research and development. Please let's just give a round of applause as we welcome.
I was going to say, I can see the audience. Who is managing this?
Please, can you mute yourself if you are not speaking? Those of you online, help us mute yourself if you are not speaking. Thank you very much.
So I was going to turn to face the audience, but then I realized there are people who are online. But I think it might be better that I turn around so I can see everybody here. I want to welcome everybody to this webinar. I believe this is one in a series of activities by the hub to get all of us into the dancing floor of innovation. I want to join the moderator in welcoming all those online, some of our resource persons, and also those who are from outside the university. I can see some names that people that are my friends, I'm sure they saw this in some other platforms. So I would like to welcome all of you to African University of Science and Technology, and to the students and faculty that are here. I want to welcome you and to say that I know you are here because you want to learn, you want to become part of the innovation ecosystem we have here at AUST. It's still a very young innovation hub. this hub is just about 2 years or 3 years old. As you may be aware, it was out of one of our dreams to become an entrepreneurial university, to become a university driven by innovation. This is one of the dreams we have, and I'm a very good dreamer, but I'm also a believer in making sure that dreams are transformed into reality. In this university, we started the African University of Science and Technology, started as a postgraduate university. And we are really doing very well with respect to research. If you go and check, you will find that our postgraduate students have really made their mark. Also, the faculty, especially those of a few of us who are around, those who partner with us from all over the world. At the time we were doing only postgraduate studies, you will find that the lecturers here, 80% of lecturers here were actually based in countries like United States, Canada, France, and so on. Those lecturers are still there with us. In fact, we have these international partners from over 20 universities worldwide, developed economies, including from Asia, that is from Japan, from Singapore. But when we started the undergraduate program 3 years ago, we found that it's difficult to get these lecturers to teach you, teach you as students. So currently we are teaching you from our local resources, that is using lecturers that are within Nigeria here, physically on campus. But I believe that with time, by the time you get to 300, 400 level, you may get the opportunity of interfacing with these international scholars who are in different parts of the world, because they may engage you in one way or the other, maybe for your projects or for your final year. But having said that, that is on the academic side. On the innovation side, one of the challenges that we have noticed, and all of us know, is that within the Nigerian ecosystem, within the African educational system, we have a major challenge. And that major challenge is that we train students, they go through the university education, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They come out, and you will agree with me that most of what these students have, or these ex-students have, is probably their certificate. I went through the system, so I know what I'm talking about. I graduated in 1982. And the only thing I can say that after 5 years of my study of engineering is that any question you ask me in engineering, in my field of engineering, I will answer. But when it comes to translating those ideas, those knowledge into production of goods and services, you will find that I will find myself, trying to survive. This is one major problem or one major challenge with the educational system we have in Africa. You go through a 4-year program, go through a 5-year program, you come out, you can write. They ask you questions, you write, but take you to the lab, or take you to the workshop, or take you to a business environment, you will be found wanting. And this is one thing we want to correct in this university. We want to produce students that are ready for the industry. Students that are ready for the market. Students that are not just people who assimilate knowledge, but use knowledge to solve real-life problems. And it is by finding solutions to problems that you can create wealth, you can create opportunities, you can become employers of labor even by yourself. And our dream is that we want to get a point where even before you become final year students, before you leave this university, you either have your own company, what we call startup, or you are ready to have your own company you already have a product. You can actually, you already have a product in the market, whether the product is a physical product or a service. And I want you to think about situations such as the Silicon Valley in the US, where you have an environment where innovations are coming out from universities, and then these innovations are translated into actual industries, actual commercial services. And these were done by students and faculty lecturers. This is one of the things we want to replicate here. And so we're going to be running the AUSTInspire Innovation Hub. Is going to be running series of courses, series of engagements to get us to a point where we will all flow. We will all understand what is meant by innovation. We will all understand what we mean by entrepreneurship, and we practically begin to demonstrate them and do them while we are doing our academic work. Of course, you have to get your A's, you have to graduate to 2-1 or first class, but at the same time, I don't want you to leave this university just with your certificate. I want you to leave this university with your certificate, plus the entrepreneur in you being ignited, knowing what it is to be an entrepreneur, and having the knowledge and skills of innovation that can help you. And today, the theme of this workshop is fast tracking to MVP with AI. I believe AUSTInspire assumes that we all know what they are talking about. What is MVP? Does everybody know what MVP is? Those in you? No. Okay. Does everybody know what AI is? We all know. Okay. It's good that you don't know what MVP means. So by the end of today, I'm sure you will understand, even if that is the only thing you get today, you'll understand what we mean by MVP. And the idea, what we want you to go through today, is how do you fast track to MVP with AI? How would AI help you to fast track moving your ideas to MVP? And that's what we want to achieve today. We'll be taking it bit by bit. And if you are able to grasp what is being said by the resource persons bit by bit, you will then notice that in the next 1 year, you can actually call yourself an innovator, irrespective of the course you are studying in AUST. What that then means is that by the time you are getting into, assuming you are in 100 level, by the time you get to 200 level, you would have also become an innovator, an entrepreneur, and then you now join it with the academic training that you have here. What that means is that by the time you are leaving this university, you probably already have your startup, your company. You are already creating wealth. If you are not creating wealth, if you attend the interview, you will excel. You will even know where to go for the interview. One of the things I experienced recently, somebody was looking for work, and I said, "Where have you looked for work?" He said he has not even looked for work anywhere because I have I don't. But this gentleman doesn't even know the companies that are in Nigeria. He doesn't even know. When I asked him about big companies in Nigeria, not even okay. Take down, go to their, look for careers, and put in your email. He thanked me. A few weeks later, he said he is now receiving email from that company. I said, if you fit into any this apply, don't think you must know anybody. And today he has even attended one interview on that company. He has not been thinking,
but I know that you'll be taking one day. But what I'm saying is, many of us go through university education without even thinking about where are these jobs that we're looking for? Which organizations will give us these jobs? What skills do I need to do? How do I retool myself to be able to fit into what the job, the people that be looking for? And in addition to that, how do I create jobs? Who says I must look for work? Why can't I create my own job and look for how to, I mean, create jobs? So I want to welcome you. But believe that all those pieces would have been something that it can be to them. Because there are two things, this thing, AI and then MVP. So having said that, one piece of the break, I've suspended everything I have to do because even me, I want to learn. I should be owning 3 or 4 companies now. Even though I'm president of a university. Why should I have my company? I have only one. I have 3. So while I'm serving as president of a, I should be able to also have my own company where I'm chairman. So this is the way to go. And all these things, sometimes people say I'm discouraging them from leaving Nigeria. I say no. Even if you succeed and leave and go to the US, you can still be running your company. I have a few friends, Japan. They established their companies and now they are back to Nigeria. I say, no, he's running the company. Where are you not going from? It's a different story. But he has established a global company which is running from anywhere. So that is the kind of thing that we're thinking about. What time. So that to be here and it's back over to thank you so much for sharing this. Really that's for the statement of the strong as a team, you know, leads to what success. Okay, and proper very said that as get threat, need to need to have every opportunity. You know, this okay, let's have faith. So Paul said that if the university not just with your certificate, PhD, the science, it's so also take this example.
So moving on, I think I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. Did I introduce myself? Okay, anyway, maybe for the sake of those who are online, I know most people here already know me. So my name is Vitalis Anye. I'm a lecturer here, first of all, at the university, and the acting dean of the School of Engineering and head of material science and engineering department, as well as the coordinator of AUSTInspire. So it's my pleasure to be anchoring this webinar series. So to kick things off, we are going to move forward with the keynote speech, and the keynote speech will be delivered by our keynote speaker, who is Kelly Gasasostira. I got the name correctly. So Kelly Gasasira is he has extensive experience in leveraging AI product development, and of course, he has helped multiple startups to actually bring their ideas to life using cutting-edge tools. He is a lead software engineer at Co-Creation Hub. Co-Creation Hub, it's important to note that they are one of the biggest innovation hubs in Africa, with inroads in a number of African countries. Their headquarters is here in Nigeria. And we already have a formidable partnership with Co-Creation Hub. I can say that Co-Creation Hub, we kind of were incubated by Co-Creation Hub because they actually operationalized AUSTInspire for 12 months. So we are glad to have our keynote speaker from Co-Creation Hub to come to share his experience on how we can actually fast track the movement from an idea, a concept, to MVP, or to a stage where that idea becomes, a tangible product or service. So please help me welcome Kelly Gasasira. Hope I got it correct. Hello, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Can everyone hear me clearly? Yeah, if you can hear me, just do a thumbs up. I can see you guys.
Also, I can see one of the panelists also join, Oge Elekwa from Turing AI Academy. You're highly welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you guys hear me
Hello,
from
guys.
AUSTInspire? Yeah, can you hear me?
You please unmute.
No, I'm not on mute.
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
People on the call could hear me, but I wanted to be sure that the people in AUSTInspire could also hear me.
We can hear you now.
Okay, nice. Okay, thank you so much. I was introduced. My name is Kelly Gasasira, right? And Kingsley told me I have like 10 to 15 minutes to share my knowledge, right? So I have resources, but what I'm going to dive into is what you guys really need, right? Which is to take your idea, right? And try and use an specific AI tools, right? That are found that are helpful for me, right? And create an MVP out of it, right? So, or rather a prototype, right? So that you can carry on, right? With making it live and making a difference, rather, right? So I'll start off, there's two specific tools that I want to talk about, right? But I'm sure most of you guys, even in university, you use ChatGPT, right? And right now, there are a lot of competing models like Grok or DeepSeek that are available, right? So I would advise to use that, right? Especially when it comes to ideation, right? And building like a plan for what your product's supposed to be, right? So I would advise that. But when you have your resource, right? For example, think of this like a client comes to you, or you have an idea of something you want to build, like you're sure of it, right? Now, ideally, right, you want to give it to an AI tool, right, to formulate the MVP through code that you're familiar with, right? So I don't know if all of you are familiar with one particular programming language, or a number of you know many programming languages, right? So for now in the market, right, you can see that in most job markets and many developers, they prefer using Node.js with JavaScript or TypeScript. And then the database maybe is MongoDB, and then the front end, they build it maybe with React, right? So let's say you have that basic knowledge, but you don't know what exactly to build, right? Or like the design, you don't know how to do that, right? So let me introduce to you to a product on AI tool called bolt.new, right? Don't worry, I'll provide the PowerPoint resources, right? So that all of you can have it, right? But right now, because I have 10 to 15 minutes, I want to focus mainly on the product itself, right? So allow me to share my screen. So I'll share this. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can.
Ah, nice. So if you see,
Get it? Can you hear me?
yes,
Hello?
yes.
Yeah, so the president of the university has graciously added 5 to 10 minutes. So don't rush it. The students are
No,
all yes,
yeah, I won't rush it. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, cool. Okay, so as you can see, I'm on this website here, right? It's called bolt.new, right? And this bolt.new, right? As you can see, it's used and specifically for students right now. I know right now you don't have all the dollars to subscribe to different AI tools that require you to pay a lot of money, right? Or they give you like 7 days trial, right? But for this, right, you have tokens every day. If you maximize your token in one day, you can't continue using it, right? So you have to wait the next day, which is, I think, better for students, right, who want to build their MVP or their prototype immediately or quickly, right? So so for this, right, you can type your idea, which is why I said, right, try and lean on maybe ChatGPT or DeepSeek or Grok, right, to help you with the ideation. You have your idea. You want to create an app for maybe farmers, right, to use, and they can have a logbook where they go on the app and fill in maybe the seeds that they're going to plant, when they planted it, all that, just for maybe tracking. The farmer can be able to track what they're doing every day, right? Maybe that's the idea, but you want to formulate it in a way that AI can understand. So you just give that idea maybe to ChatGPT or DeepSeek or Grok, and then they formulate for you a plan or an idea plan of execution, right? So when you have that, now this is where you can also do that. You can also do that here, right? You can also do that here, but I prefer using many tools and so that I create maybe the best product. But if in case you just want to focus on this and you do it here, right? You can easily say, for this bold, of course, you have to register, right? It's a simple registration. You can register with Google. For me, I've already registered, right? And all you have to do, you can even upload, in case you have a PDF, right? Maybe you already did it. You already did your research, right? And you have your PDF of how you want your product to look. You can still upload it here, right? And it formulates for you, right? A product, right? So we can start off with this, and we can say, help me create a website that is meant to handle farmers' logbook to track their livestock or something like that, right? As simple as that. Let's just make it as simple as that, right? When you do this, right, it's going to write for you all the code. But I even forgot to say, if you're familiar with a programming language, you can also give it the programming language. At this point, it's trying to choose the best programming language out there that will fast track and build your product based on the market out there. So you see, it's building out the product using Node.js, because many developers use Node.js. They use a TypeScript or JavaScript. So what it's doing here, right, it's building for me in TypeScript using Node.js, right? So you really have to be familiar with the programming language so that whatever it's doing, right, you can understand what it's doing, and you can also get the code and fix it. Sorry, not fix it, rather refine it the way you want. Or if you're not familiar with this code structure and you want to use another code structure, right, you can just get all this code, right, and then start changing it gradually, right, to build out your MVP, right? But for now, what this is doing, it's creating for you your whole website, right? And you can continuously tell it, don't worry, it's going to show us a preview. So you can continuously tell, hey, I don't like the header, I don't like the background theme, I don't like this, and it will gradually change it for you, right? Or if you have a logo in mind, you can even give it the logo, right? And then it places it accurately. If it's not mobile responsive, you can tell it and it will adjust it for you in real time, right? So I'm still waiting for it to build, but as you can see, right, it's the code structure is following the what's called the standard right now for all React developers or front-end engineers, right? So this is the standard right now, right? But if you still want to make your adjustment to your changes, right, you can still do it here, or you can download the code. If you see up here, right, there's a section to download all the code that has been generated, and then you can continue working outside it, because as I mentioned, it has the token is it has a limited amount of token every day, right? So you can still be able to download whatever it has done and continue on your VS Code or your code editor outside the platform, right? Even deployment, right? You can be able to deploy it, but I think for deployment, it requires some kind of payment, right? But if you're really committed, it can put this outside. So it can put this your project to the internet for you from here directly. So you don't have to go through the hassle of maybe subscribing to AWS or DigitalOcean or wherever, right? So this will just do it for you immediately, right? So it's really, really being thorough and really generating it for you, right? So, okay, as it's doing this, right, I can show you the second tool, right, that you can use, right? It's called Replix AI, this one. So this Replix AI, right? So this does the same thing, right? Let me see if I can give it the same prompt, right? And it will generate for me. Let's say, help me create a website logo. Please use Python to build out the front end and back end, right? Something like that. Then you start building, right? So also this, right? It will start generating for you all the code, and even it will give you a preview of how it's supposed to look like, right? So let me see if this is done. It's not done yet. No preview yet. So when the code is done, because it's still generating down here, right? When the code is done, you can easily see the preview, which is what I wanted you guys to see. but it's about to finish. You can easily see the preview, right? And you can go ahead with it, or you can start making adjustments or changes, right? Okay, it's about to finish, right? So, so it's going to show me the preview of what I've built. So you see, these are a proper MVP that you're ready to put in the market. It's done. So all animals, you have this, it has the search criteria, it has generated for you placeholder images, right? You can see the analytics there. So if you like this, right, you can easily come up here, download it, right? And make some few adjustments, right? So it has just done for you, maybe, for example, the front end, right? In case you need to write the back end, you can still tell it to make it functional, right? And write a database for you and the backend side of it. Because right now, what it has done is just mainly the front end with React, right? All this is just the front end with React, right? You can see the health records. You can see the, okay, it has not completed these others, right? I think this is where the token ended, right? But you can see it has done something that you can start with as an MVP, right? If there are things that you don't like about this, you can just tell it to remove them, right? So even for this, let me see, for Replit, it will do the same, right? But now for this replit.com, you're only limited to 3 for the free version, right? You're only limited to 3 applications, only 3, right? So you need to use these tools carefully, right? So on the other side, maybe for example, if bolt.new, the tokens end, right? But there's an urgent MVP that you need, right? You can switch to Replit and then it generates for you, right? Maybe the second project, right? So you can maximize on these tools, right? So for this short time, right? These are the tools that I would advise you guys to use, especially for students right now. You can easily use this, right? Then, for example, for code, right? For the code, what I do, right? I don't want, it's always a bad idea to rely 100% on AI, right? To write your code, right? I would advise you guys to use AI as one of your lecturers, right? Who's guiding you, right? So you just try out, write your own code, right? And you can use something like ChatGPT, which is always free, right? You can get your code, right? And instead of looking at code and trying to understand the errors that are there, right? It's not working. This code is not working. You're confused. You don't know what to do. It's better to get all that code and give it to ChatGPT, but don't tell it, fix it. No, tell it, find the issues with my code, highlight them for me, right? And highlight them for me and show me how you fixed it, right? So it will explain to you. So you're learning new ways, or you can even tell it, give me a better way on how to write this code, right? So by interacting with AI that way, right, you're learning, right? You fixed your code immediately, right? You don't have to stay a lot of minutes suffering and trying to find solutions, right? You fix it within minutes, no, seconds, right? And you've learned the issue, right? And then you can move on to the next, right? So I wouldn't advise you to just do this, what I've done here on bold.new, right? And just put it out there. No. Try and understand, use this as an opportunity to understand the code structure, right? But though it has built for you an MVP to start with, based on your idea, right? Moving forward, you just copy the code, export the code, and start understanding what it did and making adjustments, right? So that your brain is not rotted with depending on AI so much. You can use what you studied at school. You can use these AI tools to give you a head start, right? And then from there, you can start building your project, right? So these are the 2 tools, at least for now, this short time that I can offer. Maybe if anyone has questions, I can answer them, right? Before my session ends. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause. Dr. Sira, quite very time conscious, and I believe that we have picked one or two things on some of the tools that you can actually use to move your idea or concept and MVP. And President, in his address, he asked a question that how many of us know what an MVP is? I know Man U fans will say, well, why did I say Man U? Man U has been suffering. Man U fans say most valuable player. I will just take it back to the keynote speaker to tell, because there are some of the students here, I believe, they may not really know what an MVP is. So,
okay.
Kelly, please, can you just?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that question. Sorry. An MVP is a minimum viable product, right? So what does that mean, right? Like it's ideally an MVP. You can also refer because I use the term prototype, right? An MVP is meant to capture the key features, right, that are needed for your project, right? Not all the features, right? The key features. Let's say I want to have a dashboard where I can see analytics. I want users to be able to log in. I want users to be able to sign up. And I want users, in case they've forgotten their password, they can be able to go through the forgot password process, right? And so that they can enter and log in and see the dashboard and analytics. And I need to be able to add this information on my logbook as a farmer. I need to be able to state when I planted my seed, when is the harvesting period. You know, those small key features, right? To be able to start, right, and put your product out there to the internet, or for when all is ready for production, at least, right? That's an MVP, minimum viable product, right? So you need to be able to have these small key features, not everything, just the small ones that give you a best footing, right, to start your project, right? So those are the things that we need to focus on, right, to put our product out there. So yeah, just think of it as that, like enough features to attract the people you're trying to showcase your product to, investors, maybe the lecturer or whatever, right? What are the enough features, the small features that are needed, right? That even capture the idea of the project, right? So those small key features, right? When you apply them, it becomes an MVP, right? So it no longer becomes an MVP when it's extremely advanced, when there are extra features, there are things that don't really go in line maybe with the idea, right? But are just other things. Like, for example, what we've done right now for this farm track dashboard, right? In case, let's say we decide to add a chatbot, an AI assistant chatbot somewhere, right? It no longer becomes an MVP because an AI, it's like a bonus, right? It's not like, doesn't really matter to the project, right? Because we need to be able to capture the key things that make the idea work. Now, those key things, as small as they are, those are the minimum viable, those are the things that make your product a minimum viable product, which is an MVP. I hope I've explained it better. I know I've explained more, but I hope I've captured it. I hope you guys understand.
Thank you so much. That's quite comprehensive.
Okay, cool.
Please, we are going to come back to you as we proceed with the final discussion, and there are a few questions that we will just request that you proffer answers to them. So again, just to remind us that our theme for today's webinar series is Startup Blueprint. Startup Blueprint, fast tracking to MVP. So how do you fast track your idea to MVP? And we have listened to the keynote address, and we have already picked up a few tools that we can start. You have one idea that has been on your mind since when you were in nursery school, and now is the time. AI is one of your lecturers to help you to fast track that idea into a product or a prototype. So again, this is important for us students. As our president said, we don't only want you to leave with a certificate, a BSc or a BH in your respective programs. Also leave with a skill set. You know, before leaving, even you may already have your own company and be an employer of labor. So that will be our joy, and it will be part of our success stories at AUSTInspire and AUSTInspire. So this is very important for you, potential founders and innovators. How can you use these AI tools to quickly get your ideas translated into products and services? So please make sure you follow through very keenly. So at this juncture, I'm going to, without waste of time, introduce our panelists. So we have some experienced people from the industry, from academia as well, and from innovation hubs, who are going to x-ray this topic and talk a little bit more about their experiences on using AI to actually translate ideas into MVPs. So the first panelist is Dr. Umar Adam Ibrahim. Dr. Umar Adam Ibrahim is actually a friend of the university. He has been participating in different events that we have organized at AUSTInspire. He is an assistant professor at Suleiman Demirel University, SDU in Kazakhstan, and an AI researcher and startup advisor. I worked with him in Nile for some time. I know he's very dedicated. He was a computer lecturer, computer science lecturer there, and also he has built dozens of startups at Nile University. So you are highly welcome, Dr. Umar. I hope you are there and you can hear us loud and clear. Dr. Umar.
Yes, I'm here, loud and clear. I can hear you.
Very much. Thank you very much. A round of applause for Dr. Umar. Those of you online, please give an electronic round of applause responses as we progress, so that we'll know that you're following. You know, it's very tempting. You can log in online and then you start doing other things, and you allow AI to pay attention for you. Good. So the next panelist is Engineer Celestine Ugu, who is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Enterprise Digitals. Engineer Celestine, are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, welcome. Please, a round of applause. We also have Obe Elekwa, who is the CEO at Turing AI Academy, one of our potential partners at AUSTInspire, and one of the organizers of this webinar series. You're highly welcome. Okay, I saw you earlier on. Please, can you?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Please, a round of applause. And so I'm going to be asking a few questions to our different panelists. Oh, okay. I forgot the logo of the panelist. It's our president. He's also part of the panelist, even though he spoke at the beginning. So from your part at the panel session. So we are going to get a few questions for them. Uh, I will start with Prof. So Prof, as a formidable one for that. So how do you think universities can better equip aspiring founders? Like we all have, many of them here, they are eager to learn. They already hear of founders. How can one day I join that board of founders? How can aspiring founders be equipped with the skills to integrate AI effectively into their startup journey?
Okay, thank you very much, Rachel. It is important that we understand what we mean by founders. Every one of us here is a potential founder. What that means is that you're always dreaming of being a founder. And it depends on which field or which area. I know I see some of you online marketing one product or the other. Those, for me, that means you're already a founder because it means you're already selling something. And that is the most basic form of innovation or tech-driven entrepreneurship, where people buy things and sell. Whether you have those things or not, what some people do is they actually look for products, maybe through the websites of manufacturers, and then showcase those things on their website as if they already have them aware. And so when you now place orders, they now arrange and send those things to you. So being a founder doesn't mean you already have a bank, you're a donor of a bank, or you're a donor of a university. You can be a founder just from your own small environment and then you begin to grow it. So the question is how, what should university do or what we are doing to equip founders or potential founders with the tools they need. Now, to be a founder, you require a number of things. We've just seen one demonstration of one of the things you need. What this gentleman showed us now, using AI to have an MVP. If this idea may be in your head, I was just sharing with Kingsley here that actually in the last 1 week, I've been trying to respond to a call for grants. And what was in my head in what I want to do is to address the problem of cattle rustling in Nigeria. And what was in my head is it not possible to have a situation where every cow is identified? Maybe there's a little thing tagged on here or somewhere. And so if you come and steal that cow, as long as they don't discover where that little thing is, even if you take that cow from Lagos to Sokoto, it will be detected, the location of that cow. Now, that's what is in my head, but I'm not a computer scientist. I don't know how to do apps, but this is an idea. And if I'm able to come up with a product, you can imagine that this product will have many applications, including even in kidnapping, tracking things, and things like that. But for me to be able to do this, if I'm going to do it myself, I have to get so many people to help me. But if I have an app such as one of these two tools that he has shown us, it means that I can quickly come up with an MVP. I can show, yeah, this is possible. I can actually do an app that can help me look for cows when they are lost. In fact, wherever they are moving, you can actually track them. Just like the bigger ones that we are using, like the Google Maps we use for driving and transport. But the question is, how will institutions equip people with the tools? Now, what we can do is that all these tools, these AI tools, that the ones we have just mentioned, you will notice one thing, that many of them, whether it's ChatGPT or any of these things, they will always, you know, they are very good marketers. Everyone, just like doing plagiarism. If you copy and you don't want to be caught, you want to use plagiarism checker. First of all, they will give you the ones that are free. But as you now begin to do more complicated things, they will now advise you to migrate to premium. And premium means you have to register with $20, $30, in fact, sometimes $1,000. So if you are a potential founder, you may not have this money, isn't it? So what do? As an institution, our role would be to get these tools within a hub like AUSTInspire. So potential founders can actually, if they are members of the innovation ecosystem within AUSTInspire and they are properly registered, they can actually have free access. The idea of this hub is that we provide an environment for innovation to happen. And that environment means providing infrastructure such as this environment. If the power goes off now, a generator will come on. So that is what the university is trying to provide. You have access to internet, you have access to electricity, you have a good environment, then you have mentors, people who can guide you, such as the resource persons we have just brought in. So if you are actually trying to develop something, these tools will be available to you. So for us, that is what we can do as a university, to provide some of these tools and also to provide an environment for learning. Many of us saw what he has just done. If you go to him to learn what he has just shown us now, I'm sure you will have to part with some money. But in this case, the university has invited him and he graciously agreed to come and show. So the university also provides a learning environment for people to upgrade their skills in some of these tools, so that gradually, incrementally, you begin to learn. In another 1 year or 2 years, you become an expert, and you even join the community of those who teach others. So these are basically what we can do as a university to provide these tools, make them available to people, and also the environment, such as AUSTInspire. And I believe that when that is done, it will now be possible for people to have unfettered access to the tools, the knowledge, and everything they need to become successful founders.
Oh, thank you so much, Prof. Thank you very much. We can see that the university is creating that enabling environment to ensure that we have more MVPs from just our ideas that we have. So, and we should know from what Prof has just said that we are all founders, potential founders. So we have that capability, we have that capacity, and AUST will get tools to accelerate that. Okay, so I will go over to Dr. Umar. So Dr. Umar, I know you've been working with a lot of startups at different stages from your journey since you began your journey of startup development. So from your experience guiding these startups, how do you ensure that MVPs built using AI still reflect real user needs and not just synthetic assumptions?
Thank you so much for a wonderful question. Once again, good afternoon all. Please confirm if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I think that's a fantastic question, because at the end of the day, the MVP does not stop in your laptop, and that is not the last thing you do. I'm going to give a practical example of recent. We need to send an application to UK for clean tech competition. So largely it has to do with air pollution in the city where I stay, which is Almaty. So we had 48 hours to submit the application. and we use one of the large language model to build an MVP mobile application that capture the weather with some synthetic data. But after the application, we had to station IoT in physical places. So that is the next thing you do. So after having the MVP, like you have a test case online, so that does not stop on your laptop. You need to go to the physical world where you use this in the physical space. So we have to like station temperature, air quality sensor out there, connecting this very particular air quality sensor with the app to see if they can communicate, which is the next stage. So the first stage is having a fancy application on your laptop or on the cloud, which you build. But the next stage is to engage the real customers, the real users. So one thing you do as a startup is to create a customer persona. Once you have your ideal customer persona, you go out there and you talk to the original customer. You have to get them use the app, right? Because having that on your laptop alone, having an MVP on your laptop alone does not solve the problem. You need to be sure you have physical human engagement. So I think what you do is after developing the app, after having an MVP, you move to the next stage, which I think Kyle made mention. You deploy the app, and now you need to get people to use the app. The second example I'm going to give again, which we are working on right now, is a university admission system. The same process, we created synthetic data, created the application, run the application to see it's working. Now we're using my institution as a pilot center where we need a real data and a real human to use the system. So yeah, as a startup, as a founder, once you are done with whatever you do online, you need to go out there where you talk to the physical human that are going to use this very particular application. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Roman. Thank you very much. So our MVPs should not end up in our laptops. You know, we have to deploy them and test them in real systems and know what challenges they are facing. Okay, so I'll move over to Engineer Celestine Ugu. How do you guide startups based on your experience, Engineer Celestine? How do you guide startups in distinguishing between using AI for speed versus using it for real business insight? Engineer Celestine? Is he talking? Is he talking?
Mr. Celestine, are you there?
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
You can hear you now.
Okay, fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone.
We can see you. We can see you. We can hear
Okay.
you loud and clear anyway.
Okay. Let me open my. Yeah, good afternoon.
Perfect. At least we can.
Yeah. Beautiful. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to commend the university for this initiative, because this has been the bane of most of the universities in Nigeria and of course in Africa, bridging the gap between theory and practical. And the prof, captured it succinctly when he said most of the graduates, they churn out from the university, they are full of head knowledge, but when it comes to the practical aspect of it, you find them shortcoming. And so it is highly commendable that this initiative is being piloted, and championed by the universities. Highly commendable. Now, to your question, how do you guide startup in distinguishing between using AI for speed and using it for real insight? I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Now, you see, the distinction is very critical for startup aiming to harness AI effectively, because many use AI purely for efficiency. And when I mean efficiency, I mean for automating tasks, accelerating processes, and but the real game changer is leveraging it for strategic insight and to shape business decisions. And this is this is how I want to guide us. All right. Now I have really consulted for so many startups, and this is what I usually tell them. First of all, you have to clarify your objective. What is your objective? Is this acceleration? Is it or understanding? Now, if AI is primarily used to reduce manual workload, then it is a tool for speed. If AI is helping to interpret data patterns, to refine strategies, or to anticipate market shift, then it is providing business insight. This is this has to be it has to be clarified at the early stage. Are you talking of moving fast? Are you talking of are you talking of to produce faster or to think smarter? Another point I want to examine again is the AI role in decision making. It's the same question I want to pose also. Is AI just for executing predefined tasks faster? Then if that is the objective, then that is operational efficiency. Then you're talking about speed. Then is AI influencing decision with predictive analysis? That is insight. All right? Okay, if we take it further again, another thing we're going to do, let's look at the data depth. Now, if you're looking at the data depth, you can say AI for speed focuses on repetitive tasks like chatbots or automated workflows. AI for insight dig deep into customer behavior, market trends, and competitive intelligence for refined business strategy. So in a summary, what I'm trying to bring here bring to the table is that if you're looking for efficiency, all right, if you're looking for efficiency, and when I'm by efficient, I mean by automating tasks, that will help your company to maximize efficiency and for productivity, then there are tools that can help you to do that. Then if you're looking for insight, which is very, very important, then for instance, if we're talking about market segmentation or sentiment analysis, all right, we are not talking about speed this time. We are talking about digging deep into the data, the data you have, digging deep into the historical data to understand the behavior, the customer's behavior, the sentiment of the customers towards your product or your services. All right. So this is deep insight. So what my advice to startup is, right, that startup should aim, for a hybrid approach. You use AI to enhance efficiency while simultaneously driving strategic decision making. All right. So the best result come when AI isn't just for speed alone, but also to work smarter. So in a nutshell, if I'm to advise a startup who is listening to me today, I will tell you that AI is like a two-edged, sword. All right. One is for speed. If you're looking for efficiency, there are tools that can help you for efficiency. We're coming to that. There are tools that will help you for maximize efficiency to automate repetitive tasks that will increase efficiency. And then on the other hand, there are some AI tools that will help you to dig deeper, all right, into the data you have in order to do market segmentation or to be able to decipher or to harness, all right, to to interpret the sentiment of customers towards your product. So my approach is going to be a hybrid approach, not just one-sided. You work smarter, all right, and then you think smarter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Round of applause. Potential founders, startups, so we should leverage AI for both efficiency and strategic decision making. We are going to move forward to the next panelist, Ogwe Elekwa. So my question to you is, I know based on what you do, I saw through the AI Academy does, you have as one of your core mandates to actually make sure that AI education gets to everyone, and you're using different approaches. Empower.
Is it only me? There is no sound. There is no audio.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Okay, let me message one of the organizer. I think the whole AUST team just went off. I
Oh, wow.
think it might be power issue.
I think the audio was breaking. I didn't catch the full question.
So I can't see any of them even on the call. I
Yeah.
think I'm the host right now. So all the AUST team are down. Automatically, I'm the host. Let me talk to one of the organizers that I know.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Jibril, Airtel is working.
Recording in progress.
So OJ, they went off or they're back. So for those of us online, please be patient. They're having network issue, but then yeah, I think they are fully back.
Yes, we are back. Are we muted?
We're back. We're back.
Okay, they can hear us. Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So the next question goes to Oge. So I asked that how can AI education empower non-technical founders to use tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, or Notion AI for building pitch decks, plans, and MVP drafts?
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can get you.
Okay, awesome. So first and foremost, right, the goal of every founder is to execute the vision they have in their head, right? And the main role of AI in this, or like AI education as a whole, is to help them bridge the gap between that vision and the execution. So using things like the right tools such as ChatGPT, Claude, Notion AI can help in creating strategic moves. So say things like pitch deck, for instance, you can use AI to generate your competitive analysis, right? And do a lot of competitive evaluation based on what you want to do and based on what your market needs and also what your competitors are doing. And you can also use AI to tailor your messaging for different audiences and as well as develop business plans. So how many of us are conversant with things like SWOT analysis?
There's a question.
SWOT analysis, right? Yeah. So I find that very useful for, making a lot of SWOT analysis. And our facilitator here already showed us how we can use AI tools like bolts, replets to create our MVP draft. So I know a lot has been said here, but AI's main purpose, right, or rather educating non-technical founders could help a lot in streamlining processes and helping with the right execution even faster. So I want to share my screen. Can I do that?
Please go ahead. I'm sure you have the permission.
Okay. All right, can you all see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, say for non-technical founders, right? This should be a process you could use AI for. Say you want to develop an MVP, right? And based on your solution, it has some technical sides to it. Say, obviously, you need to create a website or a landing page or something like that. This is the ideal pipeline for such. Say you start with your ideation, right? Using AI tools. And one common misconception we have in ideation is that we tend to focus too much on the solution, right? And not necessarily the problems and what the customer needs. So you can start from there using tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and also Notion AI for our problem discovery and also customer discovery. So in steps like this, you tend to ask yourself, right? You tend to ask yourself, right? Questions like, what's something I've struggled with this week? What tasks do you or your friends keep doing manually? Or what process feels broken or inefficient, right? And from there, you can fine-tune your problem statement using AI like ChatGPT and dimension tools, and in order to get the exact problem you're going to be dealing with. And then from there, you can also explore what people are complaining about through online spaces such as, say, Reddit or Quora or social media, right? You can also look out for statements that seem negative, say people complaining about what they hate, or if there's an app for certain things. And from there, you can actually fine tune your prompts with AI, like the tools we've already mentioned, and find who your customers are before you get onto developing your product. So AI can help a lot with the customer discovery and help you validate your markets. Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Thank
been
you very
asked to
much.
pause.
Yes, okay, we also lost the connection again, but
Oh, okay, you lost connection.
yes, we lost connection in the main hall here.
Okay.
Just when you were about to share your screen. So we're trying to re-establish that.
Yes.
No, okay, is your connection okay now?
Yeah, in a moment. So I'm speaking to you through another participant's phone.
Okay, so I think we could pause like 5 minutes.
We can hear.
Are we back?
The speaker.
No, she's not talking.
Okay, hello. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, okay, please go ahead. Yeah, we are fine now.
Okay, that's great.
We have
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the question was, how can AI education help non-technical founders, right? What's the full question again?
Yes.
Okay, how can AI education help non-technical founders? Okay, so I started off by explaining how, there's two sides to this, right? There are non-technical founders that want to build products, right? And there are non-technical founders that are using AI for things like very manual things, say a salesperson, right? That's a non-technical founder, someone that has an online store, maybe on Instagram. And then we have non-technical founders that want to build, say, simple products using AI, right? So to make this a bit more streamlined, can we pick a side? Okay, let me reiterate the question again. So non-technical founders,
okay.
right? Yeah.
So the question is, how can AI education empower non-technical founders to use tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, Notion, AI for building their pitch decks, plans, and MVP drafts, which I think we can see your screen.
Okay, for the pitch deck plans and MVP drafts.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's much more specific. All right, so for the pitch deck, right, we often start with the ideation phase before we actually get to the pitch deck, and that comprises of two things. That's the problem discovery. You first of all have to identify what problem we're actually solving, right? Because one common mistake people make is being so fixated on the cool idea that they have, right? And overlook the problem. So, we start with problems, not necessarily the ideas. So we can use ChatGPT specifically for that. Say, before we get to building the pitch deck, right? Part of your pitch deck is actually your problem statements and identifying who your customers are. So you start with, asking these questions. such as looking into things that you've struggled with during the week, or asking people what they hate doing manually, or what processes are broken or inefficient, right? So from there, you can get your problem statements. And you can also do this by exploring what people are saying online, such as things that they hate happening, or asking if there's app for certain things, right? And then from there, we can also go to our customer discovery once we've identified the problem statements. So this very template is really good to prompt into ChatGPT, right? Let's just say who is trying to achieve what, but this particular obstacle gets in the way, right? Say things like students are finding it hard to study, but they don't have good tools that are able to help them do so efficiently. So doing all of that, you can prompt it into ChatGPT, and from there you can ask it to help you generate a pitch deck. So let me do that over here. All right. So using the initial statements we came up with, right? And also, I want to point out that not every process of this has to be, say, AI written. Yeah, AI is like awesome for, generating ideas and generating your pitch deck, but this is the human component where you're actually identifying a root problem. So say, for instance, now, students are trying to achieve high grades, but they find it hard to study. Suggests an MVP. Suggest a solution and generate a pitch deck. So it's always advisable to choose a reasoning model, right? So ChatGPT has this option for deep research, but that will take quite some time. So we're going to use the O4 model.
Interesting to me. Even takes you through the thinking process.
Yes.
Instead of repeating the question.
Yeah, it kind of
Sorry,
like
did you say
restate it.
something?
Yes, we can see the pitch deck, the
Okay.
outline,
Study
body, then the different slides, slide 1, slide 2, which is the problem, slide 1 is the title, slide 3, the solution, slide 4, the market opportunity. Then slide 5, the product demo, and then the business model, slide 6. Yeah, that's the pitch deck.
And then your go-to-market strategy.
Yeah. Strategy.
And your competitive landscape. These are basically the core components of this. So you can then ask GPT to generate an XML code that you can use in a tool like Excel. I don't know if Google Slide allows for this. So Okay, so the thinking process is quite long.
Yeah.
Can you see my next screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so everything here was actually generated, just a few tweaking of the elements. So this was a demo pitch deck I created sometime last year, right? I used ChatGPT for this, really. Everything from the visual elements and composition. The original one was created in Microsoft, is it Slides? Yeah. PowerPoint presentation. So this is a demo for an app, say for a translation app, right? The problem statement, solutions, product, market size, market validation. You know, it actually got the perfect analysis for how big the market is set to grow based on what other companies in that market are currently doing. And also the business model, you can see freemium, basic tier, pro tier, enterprise, and potential outcomes for all of this. So this is what GPT helped us to generate some time. It's going to take quite a lot of time to do that. So I wouldn't want to keep everybody waiting. So yes, in terms of developing a pitch deck, it's most advisable to use reasoning models and always give the AI a clear problem statements that it can work with. So it can be able to generate other components such as your competitive analysis and even your potential product demo, right? So please, what are the other parts to the question?
No, I think you have covered that because the other part has to do with the MVP itself.
Okay.
So what you have presented kind of captures all of that. So
Okay.
thank you so much for that insight. And actually, I can see here that in even creating the ideas, we have to do a problem analysis, a needs analysis. We have to ask questions from what you showed. You said, okay, maybe from one's daily activities, maybe online, you're on TikTok, you're on Quora, Reddit, you see, okay, what are the customer pain points? What are their challenges? So that already, forms the problem. Because another issue is how do we, key in the right prompts? Because if you don't know how to key in the right prompts, then definitely what you will get may not really help you enough. So I think that is very key from what you've shared with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so we are going to come back to you. So we'll come back to our keynote speaker. I hope he's still there. I know the time difference is not so much between Rwanda and Nigeria. So
I'm still there.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for staying put. So my question to you is, at what point in the startup journey do you think, like maybe at market analysis, business planning, MVP development, have you really found the AI tools to be most transformative? At what point do you think?
During the last part, the MVP after ideation, right? Because as Oge mentioned in our other speakers, right? If you don't know what you're doing, right, you'd always go back and forth with AI, right? But if you have a pitch deck and you know what you want and you have a problem statement and you've done your research, right? But now you don't know exactly how it should look like the graphics and all that, right? That's when I think you start using the AI tools, right? To kind of give you a push, right? And also it becomes transformative because it can even evaluate for you the things that you'd not ideally think about when you're maybe writing your code or when you're in development, right? So, for example, maybe what I was showing about the farm, the farm logbook, right? Maybe you have the idea of just making it work, but AI maybe can go further, right? And make it transformative and maybe even create an admin dashboard to see the analytics, right? That you even didn't think about. For you, just thinking maybe about the product, right? And shipping it, right? AI can go further and even generate for you analytics and even how it's visually attractive, right? Because a lot of people, when they're building their product, right, if they don't have good design techniques, right, they can just build things that, I don't know, are too congested, too animated, but AI can guide you on that and create something that is clean, straight to the point, and easy for people to understand and engage with, right? So the prototyping part, I call it the prototyping part, which is the last section, when you know what you want, right? And you've done your research. So that last part, I would advise, right, is when you maximize on using AI, right? Even the developers, when they're writing their code, right, they make so many human mistakes, right? So you see a lot of errors when in the prototyping stage of it, right? The prototyping stage of it. So you see a lot of errors, human errors, right? And that's where you need to kind of rely on leverage on AI, right? Initially, in the past, before AI, what we would do is we would go to our seniors and be like, hey, help me on this section. I don't know why it's failing. I don't know what's happening, right? Please guide me. Now, instead of the senior telling you, give me up to 2 hours, I'll come back to you, right? Give it to AI and AI will resolve it and also teach you where you went wrong, right? And also it can it can go further and make it better for you, right? So the prototyping stage, I would advise, is where you should really, really focus on to make your product transformative, right? And it must always keep to the target, which is the mission of your product, right? What it really wants to do after all your research, right? So yeah, the last part, prototyping part of it. I hope that answers.
Wow, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that response. So the MVP or prototyping stage, as he has said, is where we need to really leverage AI to continue to refine our product. I'll come back to Prof. In some quarters, Prof, some people think that over-reliance on AI has an adverse effect on creativity. So my question is this: in fostering innovation ecosystems like we're trying to do at AUST, what role do you think an academic institution like AUST and other institutions can play in promoting responsible AI adoption among young entrepreneurs? Okay, Prof.
Yes, thank you very much. AI is like any other technological tool, anything that, if you look at anything that we see today, in fact, every product has its own advantages and disadvantages. And that is why, let me use a more graphic example. If you look at the area of the way we entertain ourselves, for example, use of alcohol. You will always see in adverts for alcohol where they say, drink responsibly. If you drink a bottle of beer, maybe 2, it does what it should do, that is to make you feel happier or something. But when you now go and drink 3, 4, or 5, or you drink a bottle of beer in an empty stomach, then you are drinking that irresponsibly. Just like the drugs. Some of the drugs we warn people against, every drug manufacturer will always give you the prescription. That is how many times, how many milligrams you take, how many times a day. When you abuse it, you are going to run into problems. Now, these tools of technology are very useful. So the important thing is how to use them responsibly. If you look at the entire digitized world, the entire digitalization of operations, IoT, Industry 4 technologies, all of them, they are all good products of technology. But when they are used irresponsibly, it can become like the man that invented the dynamite. You know the story. The person that invented dynamite was not looking at how to kill people. But having invented dynamite, and of course we know dynamite is useful in even in solid minerals industry because you use it to break down rocks. Now, some people now decided that this dynamite can actually now be used to kill people. So responsible use of technology is a key area of science and technology. And even in science, I know of, you know, the story of a scientist that had to kill himself when he saw that what he invented was now being used to kill people. He took his life. So responsible use of AI is really very important, and you can see it. It even plays out more in educational institutions. One danger is that when students now learn how to use AI and they're encouraged to use it, they tend to now do what? Become lazy with thinking. In a university where we are also encouraging students to learn about critical thinking, that is, you don't just learn things, you think critically before you now begin to use those things. It becomes a problem when people use these technology irresponsibly. So it's important that as we are promoting these technologies, we are also at the same time teaching people that these are only tools. By the way, the name is artificial intelligence. This intelligence that these devices or these things we are using is only artificial. So there is still the human element. The natural intelligence is still there. And what makes a difference between somebody who is not deep in natural human intelligence and somebody who depends solely on AI is that human intelligence, the artificial intelligence is only trying to mimic human intelligence, and human intelligence is infinite. The human mind, you cannot really describe where it can go. But this artificial intelligence is only trying to mimic human intelligence. So it's also a responsibility for us as educational institutions to teach people the aspect of responsible use of AI. Just like any other digital tool, if you own a telephone and you feel that everything about your life is now controlled by the telephone, then of course you become more like a robot. In other words, what that means is that if something happens and the telephone is taken away from you, then you cannot function as a human being. So we should look at these as tools and therefore use them responsibly. You can also see from the examples or the case studies given by my colleagues, the panelists, that actually for you to really get something good out of AI, all the AI tools, you have to also go through the thinking process. If you give AI a wrong problem or a wrong diagnosis of your problem, of course, what it's going to give you back will also be wrong. So the human element is still there. And I remember in one of my classes, I told them, please go ahead, if you can use AI. In fact, I encourage my students to use AI. But I also do something, I say, don't just In fact, in one of the classes at the very low level, I say, copy it if you want to just send it like that. Copy it with your hand, with your pen on your paper. By the time you are copying, I know you are also somehow learning. So responsible use is important. Let us know that these are only artificial tools. And I think one of my colleagues, the panelists, said it, put it very, very well. It's either you are looking for speed. Like when I'm writing a paper now as a professor, if I'm writing a paper in my field, I don't really need AI because it's there. Over 40 years of experience in the field, I know I can claim that anything I write is good for this my little area um, of research or teaching that I have done over the past 40 years. However, it may well be that it will take me 2-3 hours to do this. And so that's where AI comes in. I can now guide AI. First of all, I have to do the thinking first, and then be able to give AI the correct prompt. And then within a few minutes or a few seconds, I'll get the response. Then I can use that time I have saved to do other things. So we need to take it as a responsibility as an institution to teach everybody that we should not leave the thinking process completely to AI. It's either it's going to help you for speed and efficiency, or it's going to help you to do even analysis that you cannot do. That is, don't have capability to do those analyses. Then AI comes in. So we need to understand this. And as an educational institution, we need to train people, let people understand what AI can do, and what all these tools, technology can do, so that when you use them responsibly. Of course, this is also all over the cyberspace. Everything we are doing using technology today has its own problems. If you buy a car and you don't know how to use a car responsibly, you are going to crash, isn't it? Either you crash physically or your pocket will crash because you may be riding that car not knowing that it is fuel that you are consuming. So everything is about responsibility, and we have to teach people about, of course, there are other issues such as ethics in using AI, also understanding behind the scenes that this AI is actually based on, the AI models are based on historical data. Now, that means that the models are actually using work already done by people. So you should also understand that at the back of your mind, so that when you are using these, you know that you're also using, and we talk about plagiarism and so on. So we need to teach ourselves and everybody using AI that we are still human, and there must be the human element to all these things. Otherwise, you may get to a point where you will now decide to let your brain decay. One funny thing about the human brain is that when you don't use it, what happens? The cells begin to die. Maybe some of us don't know this. If you don't use your brain, gradually they begin to die, and then the person becomes, you hear people say he has nothing upstairs because he has not been using his brain. So we should continue to use our brain, not leaving everything to AI.
Thank you so much, Prof. A round of applause. Thank you so much. So that human aspect of thinking, we should not allow it to AI. Thank you very much, Prof. So responsible use of AI is critical. The ethical adoption, data privacy, and now people can even use it to commit crimes. Exactly. Impersonate things like that. Now I see people they can create movies or videos using AI. So, but we should, as an institution, be responsible in our use of AI. Okay, so our time is fast spent, so we are gradually wrapping up. So, but I'll come back to Dr. Omer, and I think it's clapping to this way.
So they're trying to write.
Yeah, I think somebody we will check the chat. It was requesting that the information that Oge shared should be made available, the slides or something. I think that will be done. So, Dr. Umar, we know that there may be some use cases where human-led validation is more appropriate than AI. So the question is, when should a startup not use AI tools?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I think I can give practical example here. So when should a startup not use AI tool is when whatever you are doing has to do with human 100%, meaning you are not building an application. So one practical example, I happen to be in a board of a startup. So what the startup is doing is connecting women to hairstylists, what do you call it, henna, these are style, yeah, the style they do to the women in the north, hair braiding, and so many things that has to do with women, right? So that the goal is not having an app, because what we're doing is connecting high-end users that are very busy. These are people that work in the bank. These are people that work in the academia. The only time they have is weekend. So now we have these local people that do this very particular work. What they need is a simple request. So what we're doing here is just to use a WhatsApp platform, meaning we don't really need an AI. Why? Because what we're doing is human-to-human connection. So if we assume, oh, we need to go to the chatbot, build a mobile application before we connect the customer and the client, we are just wasting our time. So if what you are doing need the human touch 90 to 95%, so there is no point using AI. And the fact is that it's not everything that AI can do for us. There are some business that you don't even need a mobile application. What you need is a simple WhatsApp community that will solve whatever you are doing. So yeah, there's a very huge hype, AI. You see people pitching, we're building a mobile application, and our next roadmap is to add a touch of AI for automation. No, it's understanding if you are there already or you are not there. So the bottom line is that if your startup has to do with engaging as many people as possible, so AI does not really play a huge role here. So what you can do is just to create a strategy. How do I talk to this person? How do I convert the next customer? How do I reach out to my people? Why? Because what you're doing is physical engagement. So like, let me use Startup Campus again as a sample. What we do is student engagement largely. So we can go to AI, right, make the noise, but then we need the human touch. We need to reach out to this very particular student. And the number of students we enroll, the number of impact we can record. So in a simple case, as long as you don't really need an application or sophisticated application for whatever startup you are building, so at that very particular point, what you just need the AI to do for you is just some brainstorming. But the chunk of the work is for you to reach out to your customers. And that is what set apart the startup are the like ideas that are in action and ideas that are just in brain or in your laptop. The action, that's what makes the difference. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Round of applause. Thank you. So it's not in every situation where you have to rely on AI as a startup, you know, and in addition to what he said, where you have to, you know, you're building a startup that involves human engagement. Like for instance, if your startup has to do with maybe medicine, or you know, you needing to get your customers or your audience to see a medical doctor, I don't think over reliance on AI can help. You know, because if you have maybe a medical condition and you go to AI and rely on AI without going to the hospital, you know, that can really have so I think that is very good. So thank you so much. We are going to move forward to Engineer Celestine. So Engineer Celestine, in your work with optimizing operations, how early is too early for AI integration in a startup workflow? Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope you please, can you confirm you can hear me very well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
can hear
okay, okay, fantastic. Okay, before I move to my question, I just want to make a few remarks, all right? And this is what I recommend to the university. Because having listened to all the panelists and everybody that spoke here, it is a common denominator here that even students or, to be startup founders, one of the key AI skills that everyone should have is prompting. We call it prompting engineering. It is very, very important because most of the AI tools that have been identified in this webinar, they are all prompt-based tools. So what it means is that you ask them a question, all right? You ask the question, you drop the prompt, and then you get a feedback. And the quality of the prompts you put in will determine the quality of the output you get from the AI tool. So I think first and foremost, students should be taught on various techniques of prompting. They should have a basic understanding of how to interact, how to communicate clearly with AI tools and AI models in order to get the best out of the AI tools. That's number one. Number two, I want the student, because I know there are so many students listening to us. I like them to understand that they will not have a fragmented picture of the startup journey, how it runs. The startup journey begins with market research. I want them, if they're writing it, they can write it. Number one is market research. You begin with market research, then you move on to idea validation. The third, business plan creation. The fourth is pitch deck design. Then you move on to product prototyping. Number 6, MVP development. Then the 7th is user feedback and iteration. And then number 8 is marketing and launch. So this is the journey. And this is what this webinar is all about, how we can use AI to really, really augment this process. All right. So going back to your question, all right, sir. Going back to your question,
okay,
how yes,
so
sir.
I think you were a bit fast with the different steps for startup development.
Okay,
so maybe at the end,
okay.
you can put it in the chat so that the students can pick it up from there.
Fantastic. No problem. That's okay. All right.
Thank
okay. Okay, fantastic. So how early, is how early is too early for AI integration in a startup workflow? Right? Now, I want to just say some few things here, that in starting out, all right, as a startup, all right, one has to be very, very careful not to fall into a trap, very, very careful about how to use AI. You have to be very, very intentional on how to use AI, because at the various point or various journey in the your startup journey, there are aspects of AI that plays certain rules. And there's some AI that you use when you're starting, okay? And there's some AI you use when you begin the journey. And then there's AI when you have AI tools you will use when your business has fully matured. All right. So it is too early to integrate AI when you haven't validated your core problem. When you still don't know your problem, the core problem that you want to solve. So AI is not the first place to start. All right. It's not the first place. AI is not the first tool to begin to integrate. You have to settle that first. The second is, if you haven't defined a repeated process, all right, it is too early to introduce AI. Why? Because one of the things that AI solves is to automate repeated tasks. It helps you to increase. That is the one way to increase efficiency. Then you have the repeated tasks in your workflow. What AI comes into to do when you integrate AI, what it comes to do is to shorten that process. all right? And then makes you to, concentrate in other aspect of your business. It handles that. Number 3, it is too early to integrate AI when you haven't felt the real operational pain. There's no pain points. You don't have any pain point. There's no pain point. You have not identified any pain point. So what are you solving? It's just like saying, okay, AI becomes a solution looking for a problem. No, there has to be a problem. There has to be a
That's good. That's good.
idealization, all right, processes. It will help you for market research summaries. It will also help you for mock-up, like you want to design your MVP, all right? It helps you to generate personas, landing page. Those are the things that AI can help you do early in your startup. All right. There is one more thing I want to say. Do not automate what you have when you don't understand. Startup, I've been able to, consult to so many startups. Why do they fail? Why do most 80% of the startup, why do they fail? All right, this is the common problem. This is the common mistake they make. They want, if I'm starting a business, I'm starting a startup, I have to integrate AI the first go. And when they do that, they discover they'll fail flat. So do not, if you don't understand, if you not haven't a grip of the understanding of your business, there's no need of automating anything. All right. And number 2, when you have not gathered enough data for your business, for your startup, you cannot begin to integrate AI. Like I say, I always advise startup to start manual. First, start manual. Don't go in automation immediately. Start manual to gather data, because it's the life wire of any AI strategy implementation is data. You must have data first. It is the data that tell more about your business. Every data point in your business tells a story about your business. So if you don't have the data, so what business is it going to tell? So for the first 6 months of starting out, you have to manually gather data about your business, all right? So that maybe in the next 1 year, next 12 months, you can have enough data that you can do analysis, run analysis, do some machine learning and algorithm there, and then be able to get some head start, some insight about what your business is doing, all right? So my advice is this. What are the signs that you are ready for AI integration? What are the signs in your business to show that you're ready? When you have a consistent customer segment, you already have clients, you already have customers, all right? A large base of customers. And number 2, you have manual tasks that is repeated more than 5 times. There's manual tasks. So in order to streamline efficiency and operational efficiency, you can now bring AI, because you have manual tasks all everywhere. Number 2, when you have a clear content and feature backlog, when you have a clear content about what you're producing, you can actually introduce AI for content creation. All right? When you have a defined customer journey, then you can now bring AI to personalize support flow. This is what to use. Let me round up by saying, that if you haven't done it painfully by hand, don't automate it with AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. A round of applause to him. So again, you don't throw everything to AI to think for you. You must have a clear problem that must have been validated, and then clear tasks that you feel that they are routine or repetitive tasks, so that AI will help you boost the efficiency. Thank you so much again. I think our time is fast spent, and we have exhausted, most, if not all, the questions that we had, except I don't know if the audience, there's any question from the audience. Any reaction from the audience? I believe this has really been an insightful. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he will share the information. I told him to type it in the chat section. Okay, so thank you so much, our panelists. Thank you so much, keynote speaker, President. We have kept you for over 2 hours here, but I believe that the ideas that you have shared and the resources that you have shared with us, they are truly invaluable for our journey in startup development. And we believe that the next time that we'll be inviting you to actually see the fruits of this particular session, this particular meeting. There will be more startups here at AUSTInspire. We'll be taking advantage of the AI tools that are available. And I think maybe from what I can see here, there's a need for us to push this further and have another session just on prompt engineering, just like Engineer Celestine highlighted. So this will help us to crystallize different thoughts or ideas and take advantage of the tools that we have, because the tools are here to stay. Yeah. So I saw in one conference, I think the keynote speaker talked about a research they did in the University of Morocco, whereby they had to sample opinion from faculty, from students on the use of AI. You know, and of course, most of the faculty were in strong opposition against that, you know, because one of the reasons was that it hampers negatively on creativity, critical thinking, which Prof also highlighted. But it is here because these people that we are training in the university, they are going to live and go out there in the marketplace. And in the marketplace, they are using this. So we have to, the argument from the professor, which was the conclusion from that research finding, was that we have to teach the students how to use AI. And that prompting hearing is it. Yeah. So thank you so much once again. Thank you also to our audience. They say many are called, but few are chosen. So we started with the full house. Many have dropped along the way. But I think we have this series recorded, so we're going to share it. We are going to share the link, and then we'll share some snippets from it also across our various platforms. So at this juncture, I'll hand over to you.
Before you close, in addition to that, we'll plead with all the panelists and the keynote speaker, please, all your presentations, can you send it to me as not just a PDF, as an article that can be published on the website? Please, so that others who did not participate in this can also read and learn.
If you don't mind.
If you don't mind, please. Are you there? Okay,
Yeah,
are you
we're
there?
here. Sure.
Yes, will do.
Yeah, noted.
Okay, so,
Noted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We give you an email where you can submit them, and when we publish them, we also give you link to our website because it will be credited to you. So thank you for adding to the body of knowledge. Thank you for everything you've done for us today. We will still come back to you whenever the need arises, especially as we are going to deepen this idea of prompting. The person lesson we still look out for you, and especially okay too. We know we're going to have a lot to do during the academy. So thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the participation of everybody. At this junction, sir, I don't know how to do it. Wait.
No, except to thank the resource persons for their participation in this program. Like you already said, I'm sure as we proceed, there will be deeper engagements. I really like a lot of them, but I think what we can do away with from here is that we need to move deeper into the use of AI. As a university, one of the things we do is to look for grants. I believe that these grants, whether they're in form of research grants or grants, preparing different groups for innovation competitions, whatever it is, we need to really deepen the way we do things in such a way that we can actually have a number of groups, a number of startups of different groups working on different projects. Because on a daily basis, there are calls. While we're sitting here, I was looking at one of the platforms that I belong to. I saw up to 5 new calls for today. And if we have a number of teams of young people working, begin to see that on a regular basis, every week we have one or two teams competing in one competition of brand or the other. This does not mean we continuously engage them and other people that by learning from others that we become expert in whatever we learn or improve on what we know. So thank you everybody and have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've actually come to the end of this session. We'll come back to you. It's actually a monthly webinar series. And this one was actually so rich. Nobody wants to go. It has to tell you how it is. And thank you so much. We'll see you again. Please, you can drop any questions or any email that you may need to receive something. Drop it for us. Please, we'll get back to you. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Celestin. Thank you so much. Kelly, we really appreciate every other person. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is the